What's up, guys? So today we're going to talk about the state behind exceptional leadership. So if you've watched any of my videos before, you'll know I talk a lot about leadership. I'm really going to focus more on the state today because there are so many leaders that create, but they do it through force. And then there's another way you can do, which is what I call co-creation. So force creation and co-creation. Force creation is when you force creation, you're in a very yang state. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. And so most people, whether you're an entrepreneur, CEO, 7 to 8 figure founder, most of you are actually doing this through force. You're actually doing this through pushing what we call, the yang brainwave state or the yang body creating or coming from the beta brainwave state. So I often talk about these brainwave states. And beta is a state you need to be in for execution. Please excuse the planes that are flying overhead. Hopefully you can still hear me. So most people, the state that they're in most of the time is force. Force is sympathetic. It basically breaks you down. It consumes energy, but it also consumes life force. You're using adrenaline. You're using the drug. You're using the alcohol. You're using the stimulants. Using the supplements. Anything to get you through the day. That's a dysregulated state. Again, it's sympathetic, it's yang, it's taken away from you. And so that's force creation. That's not a great state. You can do this. You can create wealth and success. You can make decision making, but always at what cost? That's force creation. That's not a great state because when you are in dysregulation, your decision making is in fragmentation. And so you can make decisions, but again, it's not at the optimal level of who you are. I'm sure you're familiar with circumstances and occasions in your life when you're just in flow. Everything is effortless. Think about the times when you're having a great conversation with somebody and what seems like 15 minutes turns out to be 4 hours because it was flow. It wasn't taxing to you. You weren't tired at the end of it. And actually, the opposite, you were actually invigorated by that conversation. That's when you tap into co-creation rather than force creation. And co-creation, again, is a different state because we can get energy from force or from co-creation. In co-creation is when you're in what I call the alpha brainwave state, which is similar to my alpha alignment system. Being able to access the parasympathetic rest, digest, recovery, intuition, receptivity. When you're in that state, you access flow and you can actually access the higher levels of intellect because you're in that intuitive flow. And when you're able to make decisions from the gamma, which is what I was going to touch on next, the gamma states, this is where your decision making is at the highest level. You're actually able to express the fullest or highest version of you. So again, it goes back to the question, are you in force creation or are you in co-creation? Leadership and exceptional leadership is about the state. When you're in a regulated state, your behavior changes, you flow. Your leadership is at a higher level of output, and your state, it's the source of the energy that you use to run your day. So again, sorry, I'm on a plane going overhead. So I just want to now touch on there are 3 different types of leadership. And the state dictates how you use those. Think about the state as the baseline, the foundation that you generate force off. So think about this as a different example. Imagine you were trying to jump and you have 3 different foundations. One is the ground, which is solid, and you can push off it easily. That's regulation. 2 would be the water. There's still a lot of buoyancy in it, and you can't really push off it. And then 3 is quicksand. Every time you push, you just keep falling down. Well, dysregulation is the second 2. You can push, but at what cost? The cost is to you, it's to your energy, it's to the flow. So the foundation has to be how well you're regulated on a day-to-day basis. You have to access the alpha brainwave state to make decision-making optimal. So now with that in mind, there are 3 different types of leaders, and we want to try and move away from the first and definitely from the first, and hopefully the second, to move towards the third. So the first type of leader when it comes to these states of being is what I call the tyrant leader. The tyrant leader leads through fear, do this or else, or through the title, I'm the manager, listen to me. I'm the HR whatever it may be. They basically run their business through fear. When they walk into a room, everybody corrects themselves and they feel empowered because sometimes outside of the office, they're just a normal nobody. But when they walk into work, their title carries so much weight. Other people around them are stepping up because of fear. And that's not wrong. It's the wrong way to lead. If you lead through fear, you don't have people that are actually sharing your dream. You have people that are fearful of losing their job. That's not a way to lead. So that's the first type of leadership. The second type of leader is the incentive leader. Now, it's better than the first one because it's led with something more positive. If you hit this deadline or if you meet this target, you're going to get a 20% increase in your pay or you're going to get a 20% bonus. It's really, really good. It creates compliance, but it limits ownership because people are only doing these things to get the incentive. And another problem with that is if somebody else can offer them more money, they'll jump ship. That's not the type of leadership we want. It's still not fair, it's more positive, but they're not in the game with you. They don't have ownership. They're not looking to live the life that you're living to create a result. They're just looking to get a fast buck. That again isn't the type of leadership you want. The third type of leadership, one that everyone should aspire to, is the servant leader. The servant leader is someone who inspires. The servant leader, and again, to get to the servant leader, you have to be in flow. You have to be in receptivity. You have to be calm and allow yourself to surrender. A servant leader, they go to work asking the question, how can I make my staff better? How can I support them? Because they realize that by supporting their staff, it supports the business. It's a flow. It's receptivity. It's reciprocity. Think about it. And I heard this once, and it really baffled me as to why someone would say this, but I remember hearing one time that a business owner was upset that their salesperson was making almost £1 million a year, rather than thinking, wow, if he's making £1 million or she's making £1 million a year, how much are they making my business? Think about it. If your salesperson was getting paid 100,000 a year, let's say they get 10% of everything versus £1 million a year. Do you know how many more sales they're making for you? So the servant leader doesn't see things that way. They think, how can I help my staff make more money? Because by them making more money, it makes me more money because it's one system. So when you go to the point of being a servant leader, what's actually happening, you don't have workers, you have mission partners because they share the vision, they share the dream. So you want to make sure that you galvanize your staff by leading from the front. When you lead from the front by surrender, when you surrender and you disarm yourself, and you let people know you're just real like them, they actually want to work with you because they are so appreciative of the fact that you are bringing them into your circle and you want them to win the same way they want you to win. And that creates reciprocity. When you do things that way, you actually get leadership in a far more powerful way because everybody's leading together. One thing I always share with people is you always hear stories of the Knights of the Round Table. Think about King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. The round table. There's no head to the table. Everyone is equal. And that was just an example I wanted to use because when everybody is incentivized and seeing themselves as equal, just different cogs in the same wheel, what happens is connection. What happens is flow. What happens is synergy. And when you work from synergy, the business expands so much greater because everyone supports everyone equally and everybody actually realizes everybody is equal. Again, synergy. So this is the type of leadership that can only happen from regulation, can only happen from your state. And so one of the things I always say is I help 7 to 8 figure families regulate their nervous system so they can flow from state, not effort. Effort is force creation. State is flow. And when you regulate your nervous system, you actually, this has been proven through science and study, you actually increase your cognitive output or your productivity by 15 to 20% just by regulation. Now, you may ask, and if you haven't watched any of my videos before, my name is Warren Williams, and I help 7 to 8 figure founders scale. I basically help you do what you do more efficiently. And so the question you may be asking is, how do I do this? Well, what you want to do is access the alpha brainwave state. And how do you access that? What you do is every 2 hours at your work, you want to do what I call quantum resets. Studies have shown that if you're in a beta brainwave state, and most of you are, it only takes 3 to 5 minutes of alpha work to reset the nervous system and to access flow. 3 to 5 minutes. So things such as breath work, Tai Chi, grounding. What is grounding? It's just putting your feet on grass. Or you can even get grounding sheets. that you can put in your office, or grounding mats you can put in your office. Stretching. Why? Because stress is not stored in your mind. The memory. I always say it like this. Trauma is not held in the mind. The memory is held in the mind. Trauma is held in the body. So when you stretch your body, the body, you actually move the stress that is held at a cellular level. Stretching is beneficial. Rebounding, getting what some people call trampolines, but rebounders in your office to move stagnant energy through your body. Or my activations, things that I get my fans to do, energy forms, gibberish, tapping the body, nervous system regulation, fascial unwinding, all these sort of things are really good to tap into and access the alpha brainwave state that allow you to become more productive and allow you to be in a state where your leadership really expands. So hopefully this makes sense. And if you want to learn more, if you want to just figure out where you are, because I look at what I call the 5 tiers. Tier 1 is reactive. And that's where most leaders are, very reactive, very young, burning themselves out. And then tier 2 is stabilizing. So you're moving to the point of awareness and starting to activate the alpha state more often. Then you get to regulate it, really balancing the system. So you are in beta intentionally and then exit it intentionally into alpha to recover. That's regulated. And then you move into such a powerful state when you get to tier 3. You mobilize your business so much better. And then once you go from that, then you get to optimize. And when you're optimizing, life is on your terms. You're really in good health, good physicality, good flow, good relationships, and your business excels. And then tier 5 is what we call calibrated. Your life is balanced in every single way. It's not about work-life balance, it's about work-life integration.
Sam, resting heart rate down, alpha brainwave up 7.5%. Ashley, professional footballer, alpha state up over 13% in 90 days. Jaden, alpha score up, blood oxygen holding elite range. Wayne, heart rate score bottom of the scale to the top.
So there's a way you can learn more about this for yourself. So I have a quiz. It's always linked to the bottom of these videos. It takes 90 seconds for you to fill out. Once you do that, you'll be able to test physiologically where you are, because a lot of this is physical metrics. I do what I call the alpha alignment, which tests 180 different metrics when I work with my one-on-ones. The test is an abridged version of that. Hopefully you can hear. There's a plane going over. Hopefully you can still hear me. So you want to know what tier you're in so you can be really honest enough with yourself. And then next step you can do from that is, if you're interested, book a one-on-one call and see if we can work together so I can help you scale your business way faster. Again, helping you do what you do with more efficiency, less stress, and a greater capacity. All right, guys. Till next time, stay healthy, happy, whole being health, wellness. If you could, please like this video, subscribe, and share to other people that could really benefit from this information. Much love, peace.